And when you look
Right.
back on that time period and you think about, obviously you guys end up getting the Stones tour. It's you guys and Guns N' Roses, the LA Coliseum. What do you remember the most from some of those gigs, and specifically those four shows I think you guys played?
Well, it was a wild, it was kind of a crazy circumstance because we wound up having these kind of back and forths, you know, like we had the first night, and then Axel goes into this monologue,
Right, right.
this thing about Mr. Brown, and he goes into this whole bag, because at first it was like, let's just play the shows, because we'd had some controversy on radio talking about the song "One in a Million," and they used
Yeah.
the N word in it, and we just kind of were like not with that. And then there was like, whatever. So then we're gonna play the shows, and then Axel goes into this whole trip, right? And then we'd already played. They went on down there. So the next night, I said, hey, listen, you know what? If you don't blah blah blah, they did a whole thing about, about black folks and also about LGBTQ people.
Yeah.
And then the next night, there was like, well, blah, 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 it became this back and forth. And the one thing that was odd is that Muzz actually met Axel, because there was a
There was a bit of a
effort.
confrontation backstage,
Well,
right?
there was a concerted effort to keep because the thing is, our backstage for the Steel Wheels tour was incredibly convivial. Like, it was, we could always go into the Stones. We could go into the commissary. They go into our, like the first show, we kind of stayed in our dressing room.
Yeah.
And they asked, what's wrong, man? You can come. So from that point on, we could totally hang out, right? So it was a very open and convivial atmosphere on that whole tour. Those four shows, it got real. It was really tense.
Yeah.
And really tense. And I was like thinking to myself, okay, if I run into Axel, what am I gonna say, right? And there was like this total, I didn't realize like we were being steered clearly away from each other, but
Right, right.
Axel actually did roll up on Muzz with the security people, rolled up on him, and it was like this kind of like, man, are we cool? And Muzz was like, yeah, So it was the confrontation, because it got kind of twisted. People said, oh yeah, that he and I had a thing, and actually we never met, because we were actually actively kept away from each other.
And the thing that I thought was very interesting, because I ran into Muzzy after he ran into Axel. He believed that Axel thought that Muzzy was Vernon. That's why he ran up to him. Which in and of itself says as much about what was going on as you possibly could. That this guy could not tell Vernon the difference between Vernon and Muzzy.
Crazy.
And that he was so filled with something, I don't know what it was, and that he had to speak his mind to somebody in this band and get it off his chest. And that's what Muzzy was like. What was deep was Muzzy's like, okay, you feel this way. Let's go sit down and talk about it. And he didn't want to do that.
Right.
He just wanted to say what he wanted to say,
Yeah.
and walked away. And Muzzy was like, who's very, he's very conflict averse, and he wanted to de-escalate the situation, and he wanted to talk to him. And for whatever reason, according to Muzzy, it only made him angrier.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was also like Axel was also really mad because somebody in the band had fell off the wagon, because he was
Could have been Slash.
Well, he was talking about, went into a whole bit about Mr. Brownstone. Somebody,
right. Yeah.
Somebody didn't get their shit together because they went to see Mr. Brownstone, and it was like a whole. So it was that situation was only a part of the menu of his situation. Right. He was really pissed at I don't know which cat. It might have been
the drummer.
whoever was.
Oh, all right. Or it could have been Stephen Adler, right? Correct.
Yeah,
I
whoever
feel
was.
like you guys probably have run into, or you probably know Slash and Duff and those guys now, and they're cool
Right.
guys, you know. But
Very nice people.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
all cool guys.